Welcome to the Premier League preview brought to you by sportsbet.io. Do like and subscribe to get your latest previews looking at the Premier League, football across Europe, Champions League, the NFL, and coming very soon as well, the NBA. But right now we are focusing on Matchday 8 of the Premier League season. It's back after the international break, and we're going to dive straight in with the big game on Sunday, 4:30pm kickoff UK time. It's Liverpool against Chelsea. Liverpool are 1.66. Chelsea are the outsiders at 4.1 for the tie. It's two sides in good form, but certainly with Chelsea's away form. They've won their last 5 away games. The last time Chelsea won 6 consecutive away games in the Premier League was 2016. Liverpool have been in fine form as well, but 8 of the last 9 meetings between these two sides in all competitions over 90 minutes have ended up all square as a draw. The initial thoughts on this one, I'll go to the former Liverpool player first of all, Neil Mellor. Liverpool against Chelsea, what's your thinking?
Game of the weekend. Yeah, absolutely. If there's one game you're picking to watch, it is this one. What I would say is we know Chelsea have improved. I think the timing of the game helps the game because it's Sunday rather than Saturday, because all the players have been absolutely everywhere around the world with international games. So that helps. If this was Saturday, I might be thinking it'd be a little bit closer. But Liverpool at home against Chelsea. Chelsea have a terrible record at Anfield. They've not won at Anfield with fans in the Premier League for 10 years. Since Diego Costa was the striker. That's how long ago it was. Balotelli was up front for Liverpool. There you go. That's how long ago it was. Liverpool absolutely flying, full of confidence, and should be too strong for Chelsea.
Chelsea's home form is pretty hit and miss, to be honest. They haven't got a run of form going at home. They draw, they win, they draw. They can't put a good run of form together at Stamford Bridge. Away from home, it's a completely different story where they are winning game after game after game. Along with Liverpool, Chelsea are only one of 2 sides in the Premier League who have won every away game so far this season. The Blues have only ever won their opening 4 away matches in 2 Premier League seasons beforehand. So are Chelsea, with their good away form, and with obviously Liverpool with that shock defeat at home to Forest not too long ago, are they tempting at 5 for you, Paul, in this one?
Yeah, they're tempting at 5, but I'm all over the draw for everything that you've just spilled out there in the last 5 minutes. All the stats and facts you've given us. It's got a draw written all over it, hasn't it? The way that the two teams are playing. Liverpool won the last 6 all competitions since the Nottingham Forest defeat, including 3 in the Premier League. The big thing for me for Liverpool is the defence this season. I think they're the meanest defence in the league, only conceded 2 goals, including 6 clean sheets, which is, you can't necessarily always level that at Liverpool. As you say with Chelsea, I mean, they've only won 1 of the last 4 at Stamford Bridge and a 100% record away from home. The odds there for Chelsea are surprising for me. Well, at 5s, you can understand why.
Should have been 15s, not 5.
Go on then. If you give me 15, I'll have some money on it with you.
Fine, I'll be gaining that, no problem.
No, there's a thing. I mean, we talk about Chelsea, we talk about where they've come, and Mel's tipped them up at the start of the season for top 4. But you actually look at the 2 starting 11s. Here's a little one for you, Mel's. Go on, you do it. I've got 3 of these. I got 3 Chelsea players in my team: Sanchez or Alisson.
Well, Kelleher's going to play because Alisson's not fit. I'd have Kelleher ahead of Sanchez.
Kelleher. Gusto or Trent?
Trent all day.
Fofana or Konate?
Konate at the moment, but Fofana when he's back to his best.
Colwill or Van Dijk?
Nah, Van Dijk.
Cucurella or Robertson?
Robertson all day.
Yep. Enzo or McAllister?
Maka.
Caicedo or Gravenberch?
Caicedo, because he's that natural position.
Madueke or Mo Salah?
I'm not even answering that question.
There you go. Palmer or Szoboszlai?
Oh, Palmer all day.
Sancho or Diaz?
Gakpo.
Jackson or Jota?
Jota.
That shows where the 2 teams are. I had 3 Chelsea players in my combined 11. You only had 2.
Who was your third?
I had Enzo Fernandez instead of McAllister. Enzo, Caicedo and Cole Palmer.
Fair enough.
Do you think the draws are, with the number of draws, and I know Liverpool absolutely battered Chelsea into submission. They were 3-0 up before Chelsea got on the score sheet last time out at Anfield, and they won by 4-1. But that is an anomaly between these two sides, Neil, because it generally is fairly tight. And over the course of the last few seasons, there's probably been the same argument where you probably would only take 2 or 3 Chelsea players over, players in the Liverpool starting 11, and yet these games are still remain tight. So is the draw not a play for you in this one at 4.1?
I think it is, but I just think the whole Liverpool, Anfield, momentum's good. I'm expecting Arsenal or City to have won before this game, so to go back top of the table will be an incentive. I think Chelsea have improved from where they have been in the last few years, and their away form isn't to be sniffed at. They've only lost 2 of the last 13 in the Premier League. That was to Arsenal and Liverpool. So they picked up points away from home, which is certainly an improvement. I've watched Liverpool a lot this season. Paul mentioned it. Defensively, don't give much away, and they've always got the goal threat. I'm looking at players back fit from international. Jota, Salah, Diaz, Gakpo. I don't think Chelsea will be able to stop that attacking line. So I think Liverpool will have too much for Chelsea.
Goals in this one for you, Paul, because these teams have been scoring goals. In fact, I think Chelsea come into this one scoring more goals than Liverpool. But of course, you've referenced the fact that Liverpool are pretty much watertight at the back. Generally, as I said, these have been 0-0 fixtures in times gone by, 1-1 as well. But we have got teams who are fairly prolific in front of goals. So are we expecting goals in this one at Anfield for you?
Not a lot. I think they're 2 very well coached teams, and I think they'll be tactically out to stop one another playing. I think the play for me on this one, I think you tell where I'm going with mine. I'm draw all day long, but I'm unders on the goals. I think you're under 2.5 goals. Yes, there are players in there that can cause problems. There's a lot of quality in the attacking ends of the pitch, but actually I think the defences will come out on top. Liverpool will look to keep it tight. Chelsea away from home, we know they're good, but actually I think there'll be 2 teams that cancel each other out. Hence the reason I'm going unders on the goals and a 1-1 draw.
Do you know what? I put down 1-1 already. I knew exactly that's where you were going. The last 4 Premier League meetings between these two sides where 2 or more goals have been scored, by the way, because generally we have had, 0-0s plenty between these two sides. But the last 4 meetings between these two sides where 2 or more goals have been scored, over 1.5 goals in the first half has been scored in all 4. So when you do get goals, it tends to be goals in the first half. I'd imagine that Liverpool would not be happy with a point at home to Chelsea, but Chelsea would be delighted with a point at Anfield. So 1-1 for Paul. Neil, I get the impression you're going for a home victory in this one. They are 1.66. Price is correct at time of recording. What's your score prediction for Liverpool-Chelsea?
Both teams to score, I do like. Chelsea have shown they can score goals this year. They've scored more than Liverpool, but they've conceded 8 in their 7 Premier League goals. I don't think they'll be able to keep a clean sheet at Anfield. So both teams to score, Liverpool to nick it. And the ex-Chelsea man, Mo Salah, to score. He's got 159 goals for Liverpool in the Premier League. He got 2 for Chelsea. Who did he score a Premier League goal against for Chelsea? Come on. One's in the Championship and one is in a title race. He got 2 goals for Chelsea in the Premier League. One's in a title race this year and one's in the Champ. Who are the 2 teams?
Arsenal and Leeds.
1 out of 2. 1 out of 2. Gav?
I would imagine that I would say you're probably right on the Arsenal one. So I would say Sunderland.
Arsenal was correct in a 6-0 win and also against Stoke. They were the 2 goals he scored in a Chelsea shirt. There you go. So, Salah to score, Liverpool to win, 2-1 for me.
All right, question for you then. The last 2 home victories for Liverpool against Chelsea, I have referenced one already. What were the scorelines? The last 2 Premier League victories at home for Liverpool against Chelsea, what were the scorelines?
4-1, because I was there. And that was the last time Szoboszlai scored in the Premier League, by the way. January. Yep. So he's due a goal. I'd say the other one might have been 2-0 when Salah put one in the top bin.
That was 2-0 at Stamford Bridge. Was the last time Liverpool won at Stamford Bridge. It was back in 2020. Liverpool 5, Chelsea 3. So when Liverpool have won at home to Chelsea, we've had a 4-1 and a 5-3. So if you're backing a Liverpool victory, could be goals, and floods of goals. That is your big game. I would say it's the big game for Matchday 8, Liverpool against Chelsea. And next up, we'll look at Wolves against Manchester City. It is the game that precedes this one. It's a 2 p.m. kickoff on Sunday. At what price are Wolves? They are 7.6, as you can imagine. Manchester City are 1.34, 6 for the tie. Wolves have lost all of their 5 games in all competitions. Their last 5 games, they've conceded 15 goals in those 5 defeats. Wolves have not lost 6 consecutive games since 2017. Man City's win percentage on this one is almost 70%. I'll start with you, Paul, in this one. Wolves against Man City. A walk in the park for the away side?
Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? I worry for Wolves this year, I really do. They've had 2 of the best players stripped out, and we talk every week, the budget where they are. I don't necessarily think it's the results that would be worrying at this stage of the season. They're not cut adrift as yet, but points this stage of the season are just as valuable as points at the end of the season. But it's the way that they're playing. I mean, the away fans turned on Gary O'Neill at Brentford for the first time, shipping 5. They're shipping too many goals. They look wide open. They look devoid of ideas, in all honesty. And Gary O'Neill's a young manager. He's a young manager that I like. I think he keeps his counsel very well. He speaks well. He thinks about things before he speaks in the press conferences. And he's a manager I like, and he's a manager that I'd like to see given time. How much time he gets, we don't know. But playing the way that they're playing, they're bang under pressure. And I think that's actually generous odds for City. I think it's a comfortable one, this, for Man City. I really do.
Yeah, 1.34. That is what we would say an ACCA price. If you do want to boost that, of course, one thing you'll look at is goals. If you are conceding lots of goals, as Wolves are, then Haaland is not the person you want to face, especially with his record against Wolves. How many goals, just a quick question, have a guess, how many goals has Haaland scored against Wolves in 4 games?
He scored 4 in 1 game against them last season.
So how many do you think he scored in 4 games against Wolves? How many do you think he scored?
8.
8 is the right answer. Bearing in mind, he didn't score in 1 of those. So it's actually 8 goals in 3. And that's the last thing you need to see when you're conceding goals is Haaland and Man City. Is this? I'll ask the same question, Neil. Is this a walk in the park for Man City? Because actually, to be fair, I think they lost it, didn't they, last season? Man City, they lost at Wolves. It's not going to happen again, is it?
Yeah, He-Chan got the winner. I mean, I don't want to see managers lose the job, but 1 win in 16 Premier League games. He's lost 7 of his last 8 at home. He hasn't had a clean sheet. He's not had a win this season. As much as Paul Senior likes him, how's he managing to keep hold of his job at the moment? Because this Wolves team are absolutely awful. And okay, he lost 2 key players. Still spent 80 million quid. We still spent a bit of money in the summer. So, yeah, absolutely. I've run out of patience with sort of defending Wolves this season. Awful. And this will be another home defeat for them. And City will be, who will score? Bernardo Silva hasn't scored in 23 Premier League games. His last goal was January.
You're just adjusting this stat every week. You give us it every week. You just keep adding 22, 23, 24.
Bernardo Silva to score for Man City in a winter nil.
I've fallen out with Manchester City's midfield because I had Kovacic in my fantasy Premier League side and he did nothing, so I dropped him last week and he scored 2 against Fulham. So I've really thought, we call it Pep Roulette because anyone can play midfield for Man City and anyone can score. The stats are not good. Man City have won 7 of the last 8 games against Wolves, and in those 7 victories they've scored 24 goals, so they have taken a mullering as well. And also maybe I'm quite a fan of Gary O'Neill, to be honest with you. They had some horrendous decisions last season with VAR did Wolves. After Man City, they're away at Brighton, then they're at home to Palace, then they're at home to Southampton, consecutive back-to-back games at home for Molineux. If they don't pick up maximum points than that, and he's still there, he probably has gone. Let's go for a score prediction in this one. Paul, I went to you first. Neil, your thoughts and score prediction, please, for Wolves Man City.
Yeah, a comfortable away victory, and Wolves won't score. It'll be 8 defeats in 9 home games in front of their own fans. And I've declared it 3. I've gone for City to win 3-0.
Okay. When you mentioned 8, for a second I thought it's gone for 8-0. Oh, yes. 8-0. I've seen too many of those as a Sheffield. Yeah, well, you wouldn't be surprised.
If you'd been out all day on Sunday and you came home and put the telly on and you saw that Man City had put 8 past Wolves, you genuinely wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, they did win 3-0 back in 2022. Grealish, Haaland and Foden did score 3-0 for Neil. Your score prediction in this one, please, Paul?
Half of the 8 will give City 4, but I'm giving Wolves a goal. I think City is susceptible. I think defensively they do concede goals this year. I think it will be Wolves 1, Manchester City 4.
Okay, they did win here 5-1 back in 2022 as well, did Man City. So Wolves are actually got a pretty okay record against Man City in terms of scoring. They lost 5-1 at Man City last time out as well. So they do get a goal against Manchester City. They have scored in their last 2 games head-to-head. So both teams score could be a play. It's 1.75. I don't think it's big enough. Price of time. Correct at time of recording. You said 4-1. Let's see if I can find a correct score on that one. 4-1 is 15. So there we go. A solid price, 15 for Man City to win 4-1 at Wolves. And the next game is equally as intriguing in terms of, can both teams score? We generally have had very late goals between these two sides. We're talking about Manchester United against Brentford. This is 3 p.m. on Saturday. Manchester United are 1.7. I would imagine there's a lot of people who think that's pretty short. Brentford are 4.5. People are thinking that's tempting. 4.2 for the tie at the time of recording. Let's go to you, Paul, in fact, we'll go to you first, Neil, on this one. Your thoughts on Manchester United against Brentford?
Yeah, mid-table clash. Obviously Manchester United struggling. No win in 5 in all competitions. I think there was a lot of noises. Will he survive? Will he survive this international break? Ten Hag. Well, it looks like he has. And he needs to start picking wins.
There, mid-table clash. The 14th. They're bottom half. I thought you'd be absolutely levelling in that.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Bottom half against mid-table. United have been awful. They really have. I mean, they were celebrating a 0-0 draw at Villa. That was Villa on the back of the performance against Bayern Munich. Could well have gone there and got the win. So they haven't scored in the last 3 Premier League games, Manchester United. That is a big concern. The top scorer's got 1 this season. I think that is the biggest problem for United. The second lowest scorers in the Premier League, Manchester United. And so things have to turn around quickly. Brentford are a dangerous opposition. That there'll be a threat on the counter, and Buemo has been in great form. So, I fancy United to win it, but wouldn't be surprised if Brentford nicked a point there.
Man United have not scored in 90 minutes in the last 2 games against Brentford, but they have scored 3 in the last 2 games against Brentford. So if you work on that, can you work out what I mean by that? The last 2 meetings between these two sides, Man United have scored their goals in minute 93, 96 and 97 against Brentford. So there has been very late goals in this one. Man United have not conceded 3 or more goals in 3 consecutive home games since 1962 when they did it against Man City, Burnley and Blackburn Rovers. Of course, Paul has got close connections to 2 of those sides. Brentford, generally 1-0 up after 60 seconds. That's the way it goes in this one, isn't it? They've got a phenomenal record of scoring early goals. Are you backing Brentford to get anything at Old Trafford, Paul?
That's the play, isn't it? Brentford on the early goals. But he's come out and said it as Thomas Frank, the way that they start games, whether it be from the initial kickoff, whether it be from a restart, from a goal, from the kickoff, they use it as a set play, and it's something that's proved very fruitful for them. Don't rule them out for a goal. They've got an awful record. I think it's been like 1937 the last time they beat Man United at Old Trafford. They've got an awful record there. United, listen, you talked about Erik ten Hag there. I'm as surprised as anybody that he got his contract extended at the start of the season. Can't see that being a marriage made in heaven for much longer. Listen, he had the best international break of anybody, did Erik ten Hag. He got away on holiday, went to see his family. Thomas Tuchel got the England job, and Gareth Southgate ruled himself out of managing for a year. So the best international break anyone could have was Erik ten Hag. The 2 people linked with this job, one got another job, the other one said he didn't want it. So he's come back now. They've got a tough run of fixtures, United. They've got Brentford, they're away at Fenerbahce, they're away at West Ham, home to Leicester in the Cup, and then they've got Chelsea at home. So listen, there's always going to be questions about ten Hag. If they don't beat Brentford at home, they've got an issue. Brentford are good for a goal, but still, he talks about the process, he talks about the plan. He's been there long enough now. Surely he must be able to see some process, a plan. All I see is 4-2-3-1 every week with different personnel.
Yeah, that's the point. There comes a point of going, the writing is on the wall. It's just a case of when, isn't it? And
they can't afford to do it. I think it's financial. I really do. I think it's financial reasons that he's still there. Let's not forget that managers' salaries and payoffs and compensation fees all get taken into consideration when you're talking about FFP and PSR. So if the rumours are right, he's in double figures, millions of pounds worth of a payoff, then you're paying compensation for another manager, then you're paying another manager's salary. And we know that Man United are skirting close to the FFP and PSR rules. Genuinely, for a lot of other reasons rather than football, I think is that the finances go a long way to why he's keeping his job at the moment.
And I know Brentford are 11th, and as it stands right now, they've got 10 points, which is 2 more than Man United, who are down in 14th. But Brentford away form is not very good at all. Their home form is pretty solid. That's what Brentford have based their survival in the Premier League on, their home form. But their away form, I know they've played Liverpool, Man City and Spurs, but they've also lost away at Everton. They've lost away at Burnley last season. They lost away at at West Ham as well. They are a side who have, quick calculations, quick counting, they've lost 7 of the last 10 away from home. This is a game Man United have to win, isn't it, Neil?
Yeah, I think they will win. I think if this was at Brentford, I'd be back in Brentford. Like you say, I just don't trust Brentford away from home. Brentford aren't in great form themselves. They've only won 1 of the last 4 in the Premier League, and that was to Wolves. Everyone beats Wolves. They haven't had a clean sheet this season, Brentford. You have to bear that in mind. No clean sheet. So I think United, as bad as they've been in front of goal, will get themselves a goal. I think United get a very narrow home victory, and everyone goes, well, Brentford are still doing all right. I won't fancy them away, but their away form's poor. So United just to sneak it 2-1 for me.
I was about to ask what your score prediction would be. Also, if you want to in-play betting wise, if Brentford do score the early goal, then you can jump on, Manchester United, because at the moment they're probably a bit too short for you. At what did I say? They were 1.7 at time of recording. Brentford have scored the first goal in 3 of the last 4 away games, and they've lost 2 of those games. So 2-1 to Man United is Neil's pick. What about you, Paul? Where are you going?
That's what I had written down. And then as soon as Neil said it, I thought I'll go 3-1. And then I'm thinking Man United don't score that many. Can't see him scoring 3. Do I go 1-0? Can obviously see Man United leaking, Brentford scoring. Can't see it being a draw, so I'm going to have to stick to me 2-1. Cause I don't trust United to keep a clean sheet. 2-1. Yeah, I'm going to have to stick with what I've got written down. 2-1. Too many reasons not.
Well, Brentford have only failed to score. I know they've got a poor away record of Brentford, but Brentford have only failed to score in 3 of their last 10 away games. They are good for a goal, as we said, an early goal as well. And Man United did win 2-1 at home to Brentford last time out. Scott McTominay scored in injury time, both goals as well. Going into 90 minutes, Man United were losing at home to Brentford, but they did turn it around late on. As I said, Man United's last 2 games against Brentford, they've scored in minute 93, 96 and 97. Could be late drama at Old Trafford. So 2-1 is the pick for both the guys. That is it for part 1 of the Premier League preview, brought to you by sportsbet.io. In part 2, we'll be looking at how the guys fared with their score predictions for Matchday 7, and we'll be looking across the rest of the Premier League. Always gamble responsibly.